How in the world can you represent someone that you know is guilty? And my answer has always been, even though they may have committed it, they have rights, constitutional rights to have a fair trial.
It's evident that he cares. What do you care about? Welcome to the Rock Newman Show. It's the Rock Newman Show.
In 1986, the year that the death of our Maryland guy, the basketball player, Len Bias, after he died, I ran, or during the time I was running, he died on a cocaine overdose in the campus at University of Maryland. But I ran for state's attorney, the elected prosecutor, the top job, and was able to defeat him. We brought all of the African Americans all over Prince George's County. They came together, they united, and they all got behind me, and we were able, to win that job, becoming the first African American to ever win a countywide elected seat in Prince George's County. That was '86.
What did you learn most from that job?
From that job, well, it was hard, first of all, acclimating to the job because I recognized, probably not when I was running, the awesome power that I had as a prosecutor in charge of the law, could decide what persons could be charged as a juvenile or whether he could charge them as an adult, whether to file the death penalty papers on people, and whether to charge and dismiss. And there was a lot of police brutality at that time that was taking place, and I was the law. And most difficult cases, even back in the late '80s, was law enforcement and excessive force cases by those Prince George's County police.
Was there any particular case that stands out in your mind when you were a public defender? And a public defender, you all know, a public defender, you get public defenders when you can't afford an attorney. But do you remember any particular case that you were pleased with the work that you did, that you might have seen an unjust situation that you were able to use your talent, skills, and work to reverse?
Yeah. Rock, again, I had all types of cases, murders, armed robberies, drug cases, and so forth. The evidence was so heavy for a prosecutor in most cases that all we could do was just try to get a reduced sentence as best we could. But there were a few cases that I went against the prosecutor and was able to convince a jury to acquit the person. And to me, that's great odds. I had a number of first-degree murder cases that I was able to get a jury to compromise down to manslaughter and that sort of thing. And people appreciate the work that I put in as a prosecutor to fight the system and do the best that you could. So I don't have the name of a particular case. I can't go back.
I understand.
Yeah, that was 77 to 79.
Sure. But and so what I'm trying to do is to try to get in there a little bit in terms of how people ask this question a lot and say, well, how could someone who has, outstanding ethics and morals and all of that, attorney, how could you represent someone that was guilty or that you might have thought was guilty? How do you reconcile that?
Yeah, a lot of lawyers are asked that question. How in the world can you represent someone that you know is guilty? And my answer has always been, even though they may have committed it, they have rights, constitutional rights to have a fair trial. And I would always insist to the prosecutor that they must be given constitutional rights. And when you violated their rights, I'm going to challenge you. And there's a number of individuals who were dealing with drugs, but there was an illegal arrest, an illegal search, and I had the training to challenge and attack that. And once in a while, I was able to walk a defendant or two because of a bad search by a police officer or a bad stop or what have you. So I didn't get into the ethics and the morality of representing someone who was guilty. It's just that I insisted that they have their constitutional rights. There were a couple of cases that I didn't want to take. I think it was a capital punishment case. Morally, I had some problems with the death penalty at that time, being unfairly applied. So a couple of those cases I backed off. And then on some of the child abuse cases, I had a little bit of difficulty taking those cases because of my feelings for
your sense of
child.
right.
Yeah,
Your sense of
yeah,
right.
that's right. Yeah. But by and large, we represented people. Some were guilty, some weren't. But the idea is that we were attacking the violation of the rights that those people were entitled to under the Constitution.